Okay, so welcome back, guys, to the Arsenal Calgary podcast for episode 4. I've got Dave and Jonathan here with me to talk about the FA Cup, some player ratings, and some transfer news. So we'll get right into it. What did you guys think of the brilliant FA Cup win?
Don't remember it, to be honest. I had to re-watch it since. There was a few things I didn't remember that day. I had to message Sean and check that I've paid my bill as well. So, yeah, it was a good day. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch it live, so I recorded it and watched it late that night. So I stayed away from all social media, so I didn't have any hints of exactly what happened. So
yeah,
it was just like I wish I would have been at the pub to see it, but it was a fantastic match. As a full analysis, the way they played the first 25 minutes, I thought it was going to be a blowout for Chelsea, but in the end, we deserved to win. We totally outclassed Chelsea through the last 90 minus 25. So what is that? 65 minutes. It was pretty spectacular. I granted, some of the calls that went against Chelsea. If those calls would have been to Arsenal, I wouldn't have been that impressed. But still, we deserved the win. It wasn't like Chelsea. Arsenal played well enough to. If those calls would have gone against Arsenal, then it would have been more upsetting. We deserved to beat Chelsea, and for Chelsea, the social media was filled. And Sean, you mentioned earlier, Chelsea friends that are Chelsea supporters were frustrated and mad about the way the results went because of bad calls against Chelsea. What they deemed bad calls against Chelsea, it wouldn't have mattered. I think Arsenal still would have won.
Nice to be on the other end of those bad calls as well for a change, eh?
Yeah.
It's
exactly
football. What goes around comes around, and
yeah.
I think you were right, really. I think, that those calls, like you say, if they'd been for Arsenal, we would be fuming. But I think we still would have won, to be honest. And that's not arrogance because, Sean knows, especially before we went into this game, I was not confident at all.
No, not at all.
But as the game progressed, I was like, well, this is actually working. We were really turned up, and that was great. It was a nice feeling, and it was nice not to be. Last year's Europa final. But we're not even going to talk about that anymore. But you just all you want to be is competitive, and you want the players to at least put a shift in, and they definitely did that. And you only have to look at the reaction of those players after we won, and we're very. What's the word? As fans, as a collective, we can be very unhappy with certain individuals and certain players at times, and we think maybe it doesn't mean enough to them. Well, the after parties and things that you saw, I would definitely question anyone who says our players don't care. People like Xhaka, what a turnaround he's had, and I was critical of him. I'll hold my hands up. I was very critical of him, but. It's our man. It's Arteta. He's doing a job. He's definitely doing a job.
Yeah.
Well, it's fair to say I love Anthony Taylor right now. Oh, what a man. No, it was
I don't think Anthony Taylor. Yeah, I'm a Chelsea fan. If I was an Arsenal fan, those calls went against us, I would hate Anthony Taylor. But again, Arsenal outclassed Chelsea. They deserved the win. There was no doubt about it.
Yeah, when they scored their first goal, I just turned to Dave. I'm like, oh God, here we go. 3 or 4, but they as soon as that goal went in, they started playing better. And pretty unlucky not to score before the penalty as well with Pepe.
Yeah, what a goal that would have been.
Yeah.
I think all of us leapt out of our seats at that point, Sean. I think there was one person in the whole bar that didn't think that was a goal.
Yeah.
We just all completely decided to ignore any linesman on that.
Yeah, that was it.
He refused to exist for that 30 seconds or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So, who was your man of the match? for the FA Cup?
I mean, go on, you go, Jonathan.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Yeah, surely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And against City, the way the last two matches, he hadn't played an FA Cup game all year, I don't think. And I was more impressed with the way they beat City than they did against Chelsea. But to beat two big teams at the end of the season, and even three teams when you go back to the Liverpool match, which was a couple weeks before. And yeah, Liverpool didn't have anything to play for. Their invincible season was gone a long time ago. But I think Liverpool was motivated to at least beat Arsenal and prove that they were somewhat closer to the Invincibles than many people believe. But we played really well those last few weeks. Unfortunately, we had some mishaps since the season came back, losing to Burnley and a couple others that cost us a top 5 or 4 place. But it was very impressive.
Yeah, it was very relieving, I think, to get the win and not only get a trophy but get into Europa, like just for the extra bit of money like to spend as well. I think what was it? There was Arteta's been in the job for 6 months and he's already won a trophy, and Connor's haven't won a trophy in 28 years or something. So there's another sweet spot for it. But yeah, so any final thoughts on the game?
No, I mean, it was just magical. I think what Jonathan said is correct. I think that victory against City was, in a way, the more compelling one because, City, they wanted to win that game. Let's not kid ourselves. The Liverpool one, maybe. I mean, they still wanted to win, but the City game especially was just like, okay. And then you sit up and then you think, well, Chelsea, Man United, it could have been in the final. And I think I wanted Chelsea over United. I just couldn't bear to play United at the moment. It's just a great day. Just a great day. And it's, I think we needed that as fans. And I think on a bigger scale, I think the players needed that because it's the total seal on the cake now. If you got a new manager, there was question marks that he's inexperienced. He's never had a manager's job. He's come into a huge club. If there was any inkling that the players weren't on board, well, now they will be on board 100% because they've won stuff. It's as simple as that. And he now is gone from inexperienced, you could argue, to experienced because he's won trophy. With, I don't want to be critical, but it's not the best team we've ever had, right? There's big areas that need replacing and improving, and they've still managed to get a cup. And it wasn't a cup, with no disrespect against, Hull or something like that. Credible teams and everything, but we beat the bigger teams to get there, and we won. So it's great. It's only positives.
Yeah, I totally agree, Dave. You see the turnaround in Abba, and he has, all the rumors prior to the Chelsea or the City match were, he's on his way out this year. Well, since that win, more than likely he's going to sign. I hope.
God, I'm praying he signs. I tell you.
I mean, it's only improved his chances of signing, hasn't it? That's the reality. Even if he doesn't, I think he will. I think it's already been kind of said or suggested that he's kind of agreed something, to be honest. But it's all rumors. But it can only have made it better, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll keep moving forward, guys, with this podcast. We'll go to some player ratings throughout the season. Let me just pull up the whole squad because my memory's not the greatest.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start with the goalkeepers because I think both of them deserve 10. And then we go down the list from there.
Yeah, so I'll just read out every player and then you guys can go with your rating. Okay, so we'll go Bernd Leno. Dave, you go first.
Yeah, 9 for me. 9. I mean, there's
Wow.
not too much. There's not too much I could improve on him. To be honest, I think he's been great, and especially you forget. I mean, we forget so much that's happened this season, but yeah, that I'm judging him on the whole season, and even at the start, considering how leaky our defense was and what he had to deal with, I think it's been awesome. It's a real dilemma who we're going to pick and keep, and how we're going to make that work in the future. Good dilemma, but a dilemma.
Yep.
Yeah, totally agree. I gave him a 10 just because he held us in early in the season. There was games we should have lost to weaker teams, and we pulled it out. I can't recall. Even at the game against Chelsea on around New Year's, around Christmas, we played them twice in a couple of weeks, and I think we beat them once and tied once, or some. I think, yeah, I can't recall what the results were, but he was outstanding, and we got a few more points because he was in the between the posts.
Yes, same here. Like I think he's been outstanding. And then considering how much we bought him for, like 25 million or something, I think he's an absolute steal. So yeah,
Yep.
10 as well. Martinez.
I'll go first. Yeah, also 9. Equal rating for me. Both fantastic this season. I'm tempted to give him more because it's always that case of, because we weren't expecting him to be that good, and then he was that good. It's kind of like you oversubscribe. But yeah, 9. He's been incredible. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I gave him 10 as well. He's as considering that we didn't really know what we were getting. We thought the season was lost when we lost Leno, but he stepped up, and now he's a transfer target. People are wanting him. So,
well, the funny fact about Martinez is I think he's the longest serving player at the club.
yeah.
I think he's been here for 9 or 10 years or something. But yeah, like
He was behind Chesney.
Yeah.
That guy was behind Chesney.
Yeah.
It's crazy, huh? Yeah, I'd probably give it a 9 as well. The thing I like about Martinez is if you look at like a photo of Bernd Leno and Martinez, he's like 10 foot taller than Leno. He's huge. And he's like presence in the box, like from corners and crosses and free kicks, is just like he's very commanding. But yeah, I'd probably give him a 9 as well. We'll go into the defenders. Hector Bellerin.
Yeah, so Hector. For the whole season, I love Hector, just for records. I mean, he's a bit of a weird one for me at the moment, Hector. I give him a 7.
Yeah, he is. I found him to be one of the more of the regular starters and long-term players. I found him hard to rate. I gave him a 7 as well.
He's not my favorite player, but under Arteta, he probably played better towards the end of the season. It's under like Emery, like our playing style was just, pardon my pun, but crap. So yeah, so probably like a 6 or a 7 throughout the whole season. So we'll move into left back, Kieran Tierney.
He's an 8 for me. He's been great. He's really stepped up. He brings brings a dimension to the team where we've always been saying we need like a bit more of a stronger personality at times. And I can hear Connor already singing, but he's got that kind of typical Scot kind of can-do attitude, and he just you can tell he's just kind of You know, you need someone like that in training and stuff as well, who's maybe just got that little bit more aggression sometimes, puts the foot in. And it's an important part of football. I think there's been times in our squads where, you know, we get labelled as a bit weak. And, you know, I think he just adds a bit of a dimension where he gets stuck in and seems quite grounded at the same time. He's quite a likeable person, I think. And also then just from his game, I feel like he gives us another dimension. You know, we went through a period of, I mean, even we'll get on to Louise, I'm sure, but he's kind of like Louise. He gives us a long ball in, right? And so for that, I'm going to give him an 8. I think been pretty impressed with Tierney this season.
Yeah, I totally agree. Everything you said is basically what I had written down as well. He is.
You can go next first. You can go first next time, Jonathan.
No, that's fine. He gave a. You know, I'm not just saying this because I don't think the Scottish League is the same as. It's obviously not the same as the Premier League, but it's probably on. You know, hate to say it, it's probably on par with, you know, the lower championship league teams. But he came in, stepped in, and just fit right in, and that doesn't happen very often with players that come into Arsenal. They're highly touted, and they seem to have a drop off, but he totally exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, he's ever since he came in, he's like a no nonsense defender. Just gets stuck in and like he's very old school, like
Yeah.
shirt tucked in and not these fancy yellow and white boots, you know. Just
Tesco carrier bag.
Yeah, that's it. Just no nonsense, and he's like crossing is like second to none. Like we haven't had someone like that probably for goodness knows how long. Probably 5-6 years, maybe. Probably longer.
He's consistently played at a really high level, and we haven't had that for a long time. We've had players back there that have played well for a few games and then drop off drastically, but he's consistently been at a high level.
Yeah, so it's good to finally have a good left back there. I'm not going to rate Saliba, so we'll go with Socrates. Your favourite, Dave?
Sorry again, sorry?
Said we'll go with Socrates now. Your favourite?
Yeah. Socrates. I don't know what to make of that player at times. I really don't. He's a 5 for me.
Yeah. He was injured through the year, so give him some credit. And
that's true.
I think a lot of these players, there's 2 different seasons because of 2 different managers. So, but for me, he's a 5.
Yeah, he's not. You know, he's getting old. His pace is going away, so it's hard for him to keep up with the pace of the Prem. So probably just give him like a standard 5 as well. Rob Holding.
He's not injured now, right? I think the manager's just not picking him. So there must be something there, you know. Yeah,
of course. So Rob Holding is the next one.
Go on, Jonathan. You can go first.
Yeah, again, another tough one. I think he was injured through the year. Again, go back to 2 different seasons. I give him a 5.
I can't remember. He had one great game where I was like, I can't remember when. And I thought, well, if
Liverpool.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that.
Where he sort of Romane and just said, "Nuh-uh."
Yeah.
Not today, Sadio.
Not today, boy. So for that alone, I'll give him the 6, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one because he broke his ACL, was it last year? So he's only come back from that, so it's hard to give him a rating when he's been out for a long time. but probably a 6 or a 7. I've always liked him. Like he's strong, he's fast. So we'll just see if they keep him or they loan him or they sell him. So it'll be interesting to see that. Cedric, I'm not going to rate Cedric for you guys because he's played like 2 months, basically.
Yeah, he hasn't played enough to give an opinion.
Yeah. We'll go with Mustafi next. Everyone's favourite.
Yeah, the enigma that is Mustafi. I mean, yeah, he gets a hard time. He did just. I'm sorry, it's hard to. If we're rating him on the season, I get some of the things he does in the past. You just think it's not to be critical, but it's like, why are you doing that? It's just such a frustrating player at times, and like you can at least with say Louise, I know he gets a lot of shit for the amount of cards and stuff, but you could argue that maybe he's not playing quite how and where he wants to be playing, and he's kind of filling in for other people's errors, and then he hasn't got the legs anymore and makes the error. Mustafi, it's a 5. It's a 5. He's been better this season, but I can't get over things that have gone on in the past for me. But again, full credit to Arteta. He's if I base it on the last few months, that changes my rating, right?
Yeah. I'm always scared when he's, we're trying to build from the back, and whenever the ball goes to Mustafi, close my eyes and, mute the TV for a couple seconds.
And everything tenses up.
So, yeah, 5. I give him a 5 as well.
Yeah, probably the same for me, either 5 or a 6. I think, as Dave said, when Arteta came in, he's probably been like an 8 or a 9. And then, like, when they play from the back, I think my beer numbers go up by like 5. It's just nervousness, but yeah, it's probably a 5 or a 6 for Mustafi. Callum Chambers, not going to rate him because he's barely played. Pablo Mari, would you rate him or not?
It's hard for me.
Yeah, he's barely played as well.
Barely played. He's similar to Cedric.
David Luiz.
Jonathan, you can go.
Yeah. Overall, considering what we got him for, I think I'm going to give him a 6 to a 7. All the red cards he got, inexcusable. I think it shows his age and his lack of foot speed, because he gets himself into position, and he wants to be a leader. He is a leader on this team, and he wants to try to show the young guys that are playing beside him how it's done. But he needs a lesser role. So I agree with what Dave said earlier. He might be in the wrong position, and he's got a lot of pressure on him. So he was a steadying influence once Arteta, and I think Arteta is leaning on him the correct way to be that leader, whereas Emery never did that. So I think I'm somewhat positive on Luis. Whereas this first podcast we did this year, I wasn't that impressed with Luis, but I'm happy with him now for a 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's always done that, actually. We forget that. Luis has always had erratic moments where he's just been sent off because he's lunged in, and he's always been a bit like that. And I think as he's got older, that's something we have to accept when you get an older player and rely on him week in, week out, which we did. He was playing like every game. So, what did you rate him? I'm going to give him a 7, 6. Yeah, 7, I think. What did you say? Sorry, Jonathan?
6 or 7.
Yeah, you cut
More
out.
closer to 7.
Yeah, I'll go 7. I think his experience definitely helps the team as well. And I know that's not the game per se, but it kind of is as well.
Yeah, I'll probably give him a 6. You know, just shows you how much we need to buy like a top quality centre back. He's just very error prone, should I say. So probably a 6 for Louise. Kolasinac.
You start, Sean.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll probably go I'll go with 6. He's very inconsistent and hard to get him to play consistently over like 5 to 10 games. So probably a 6 for me.
Yeah, I think he was used 2 different ways by the 2 different managers. He was more of an attacking from the back under Emery, and Arteta, he didn't play a lot under Arteta. I don't think he played since we'd come back, or if he did, it was very sparingly since the players came back in June or May. But he's, I give him a 5 to a 6 just because he's been used 2 different ways. I think he's gone down in grade through the year. He was probably higher, like a 6 to 7, but he's closer now to 5 to 6, closer to 5.
Just solid 5 for me, I think. I think we've you'll see as well, the manager's not really picking him. And I think with the options we have now, I would be surprised if he's in any kind of long-term future plan or even short-term future plan. I think that we will probably offload him if we can, really, sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Saka.
Yeah, I mean, Saka has been incredible for me. It's hard to not be biased and look at age and things. And when you see where he is, where he's come from, how he's kind of walked into this squad from the under 23s and played the way he has and just got on with his game, and played for the team. And I mean, he's not complete. He's not a complete player yet. Mm-hmm. But we've relied on him this season, We've relied on him on many occasions. So he's 8 for me. He's been doing great. There's obviously more to come, and we need that consistency over the next few years now. But yeah, he's a solid 8 for me.
Yeah, before this I gave him a 7, but I forget that he's so young and he's been on the squad for so long, not the first team squad for so long, that you forget how young he is. But I actually give him an 8 as well now, when you consider that he was relied on, and he's another one that we didn't really know what to expect. How was he going to transition to playing against men? And he's done very well. So an 8. And he's got huge growth potential, which I like.
Yeah. Probably the same, probably 8 to a 9. His assist is like, I think, second to Robinson, and like for someone his age coming in to do that is pretty amazing. So we'll just try and move a bit quicker because it's just time. We have 9 minutes, so
okay.
We'll just do like a quick rating. So like just a number. Mesut Ozil.
Well, I can't even rate him. NA. No, can't rate him. He just doesn't play. So, yeah. NA. Sorry.
Yeah, no rating. Doesn't care.
Neither. Yeah. Torreira.
I go 5.
5.
Yeah, the same 5.
He's been worse than he was last year. He was injured, I believe, this year. Hopefully he can improve and get back to being a 7, 8.
Yeah. Maitland Niles.
Better this season for me. Better. But 6.
Agreed, 6. He's improved, and he showed the two games, the FA Cup semifinal and the FA Cup final, he was brilliant. That last match against Chelsea, he was the long ball to him and feeding back to Alba was fantastic. So like to see more of that.
Yeah, probably saying probably a 6. Joe Willock.
I gave him a 6. Lots of potential to really grow. Similar to Saka, he's got lots of room for improvement.
Yeah, I would go 6 for him.
Yeah, probably saying probably a 5 to a 6. Guendouzi, he's be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've always admired his he's obviously got good athleticism. He runs around a lot, but sometimes he just run around a lot. Purely for his ability on the pitch, 6. That might sound a bit harsh, but 6. And, from what we're hearing, about him and his behaviour around the club, well, again, I don't think he's going to be here much longer. So, yeah, it's a shame. But in another way, it's not a shame because to me, he's a good player, but he's not what a lot of people think he is if you look at the stats. And if we get 30 mil for him, sold. I'm done. That's fine. We move on and we can buy someone else. So at the end of the day, we bought him for nothing. If we make 20 to 30 million off him, excellent. We need that at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I gave him a 5, but only simply because he's on his way out, and I can't. We've got lots of other players that can do what he does. Much better.
Yeah. It's probably the same for me. Probably a 5 or a 6. Granit Xhaka.
Xhaka, again, taking the whole season into account, a 6. But he's been really good in the last half of the season, and I've been impressed by that. And it goes to show how when everything happens, and we don't need to repeat everything that happened, but, everyone, well, that's it. He's done. He's gone. He's out. And still never really got to the bottom of all of that because obviously he's never felt he needed to apologise, and fans have stayed on his back until that last half of the season where I think people have forgotten about it now and we move on, which is good.
Agreed. I gave him a 6. Bad first half under Emery. Excellent second half of the season under Arteta. He is really, really good. So I think there's still room for improvement. So I'm happy with his 6.
Yeah, I'll probably give it a 7. So moving to the forwards, Lacazette.
I gave him a 7. He's inconsistent, as I think I mentioned in the previous podcast. If he doesn't have success early in the match, he kind of falls off and doesn't really. But I was impressed the way he went off in the final. He looked like he was not happy to go off. No one's happy to go off, but he looked like he was satisfied with his performance that day.
Yeah. Sorry, Goncha.
I'll give him a 7.
Okay. I will also 7 as well. I have to agree. I think he sometimes gets a harder time than he deserves. I think he kind of reminds me of no, the name's just gone. It'll come back later. But I think we expect the wrong thing from him sometimes. I think we're expecting like a kind of 40 goal a season striker. It's like he's not that. And he's never really been that. So I don't know why people would think that's what we'd get. Yeah, he did really well in France, but it's a completely different league with all respects. So 7. I think the criticisms are sometimes a bit too harsh because I think he provides us quite a lot in the game. But I do agree, I think it was Jonathon said, he does tend to, if it doesn't go his way, he can, sometimes you have to get him off the pitch, right? He does kind of, he doesn't improve as the game goes on, should we say.
Yeah. Aubameyang. This one's pretty easy, isn't it?
Yeah, I only saved a 10 for him. And yeah, he's a 10. Because of his work ethic as well. We've played some tough games. We've had a hard run at times, and he's always smiling as well. You've got to give him a 10 for that. He's always happy. He's just happy to be there. It's great.
Yeah.
I was going to give him a 9, but I'm going to give him a 10 now because he's probably going to watch this. And if I gave him a 9, he might want to leave because he won supporters against him. So
12. Done.
So we need you to stay, Pierre Emmerich. Please stay. Sign that deal.
Nicola Pepe.
I'm going to go 8 for Pepe. Vast improvement. And if that, we saw he started to get goals in now, and it's starting to make a difference. Again, I think massively judged by the fact that he cost what he cost. And I know that's a part of it, but it's kind of not. His game is his game, regardless of whether we paid 2 million or 80 million. And I think sometimes that can, look at the team he's walked into. I think that can be a bit of a noose around your neck at the same time. If you come in for big, big money and you're expected to be this game-changing player who's going to get us from mid-table to Champions League, it's a lot. So, I've been impressed. I think he'll get better next season, and I think eventually we'll reap the rewards.
I went 7. Same reasons, but lots of room for improvement.
Yeah, I'll go 7 as well. Next 3, we'll just do quick ones. Reece Nelson.
7.
Yeah, 6 actually. 6 for Nelson.
Yeah, go 6. And Ketia.
7, close to 8.
Yeah, 7 for me.
Yeah, go 7. And Martinelli.
Martinelli, what player? Yeah. Well, I gave Pepe 8, so he's got to be a 9.
Yeah, 9. He didn't play enough for me. More time. He would definitely be a strong 9, but I'm giving him an 8.
Okay, so moving on, guys. We'll get into some transfer news. So we'll do who you want Arsenal to sign in the window. But first, I'll get your thoughts on our new signing, Willian from Chelsea. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess it's going to be similar to David Luiz. He is a Chelsea reject. He's his best days are probably behind him, but he's probably going to provide some leadership in the midfield and provide some experience. He's won trophies, so I'm hoping that he can stay healthy and maybe help bring Xhaka's game up, bring Martinelli's game up, and Martinelli has been fantastic. You said he's an 8. He doesn't really need to be brought up, but provide some long-term experience for these guys.
Yeah, I really didn't know which way you were going to go with that, Jonathan, but I have to agree. I mean, Chelsea reject to a degree, yeah. So the bigger thing for me is I don't like. I'm not sure why we're signing him. Should we put it that way? So is it because we're going to bring more through the academy and we want that blend of experience with youth? I guess it would just be nice to know. I mean, apparently the manager wants him. So for that, I'm happy to go with it. Is it someone that I would pick to bring in? Not really, because, he's 32. I think we're giving him 3 years, which is ridiculous. That is actually ridiculous. That's the bit that and I guess as fans, we shouldn't really worry about the finances and stuff, but it's an important part of it. And look, is it an awful signing? No, it's a good signing. He's a very experienced player. He's going to bring a lot to the team. It's just, for me, signing a 32-year-old on a long deal, and he'll be getting good money. I kind of struggle with that. And what happens if he gets injured, or I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I tell you, I'm really excited about Saliba coming in, for example, because if you listen to what everyone's saying, he's incredible over there. So that's what I'm more excited for.
Yeah, I think he'll actually be quite good because you can then mentor like Martinelli, Saka, all those like young wingers on that side. So hopefully he'll be able to do that. And then as well, he didn't cost any money. So really, like, it's a free transfer. So that's probably a good thing that it was free, because if we spent money on him like 20 million and then he's crap, you like, what a waste of money. And then that enables us to actually spend money on players in the positions that we need. So like centre back, in the midfield, and a central attacker. So it's probably a good thing. His wages are quite high, and for 3 years, but then Aubameyang's 31, so he's basically the same age as him. Yes, it's a different class, but I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, so give me three names realistically that you think we will sign, and like, where would you play them on the pitch? Someone go first.
My shirt. This is how I get my own back. I was a naughty boy and didn't do my homework because I decided it would be a good idea last night to go out and watch Calgary Flames play. So I don't have actual words. I'll tell you who I want. I want us to get rid of a few players that we're not using, and I'd like another. I mean, it seems like we've got loads of them, but I'd like another defender at the back to go with Saliba, and someone more creative in the middle. So if you look at our assists and things this season, it's actually very worrying how we've gone from a club that had, it sounds ridiculous, we're too many of those sort of players at one point. We just couldn't play them all. And now we're kind of lacking some creativity. So I bring in another midfielder, and then I try and get a really smart loan signing, but I don't have any names at all.
I think the number one signing that we should make would be Abba. I think that's obvious. But from outside the club, I did have some chance to do some homework because I didn't stay up obviously as late as Dave. But this kid from Lille, Gabriel, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. He's a defender, 22 years old. He's from Brazil. Maybe he gets some playing time beside Luis, or gets to be on the training ground with Luis and see how to play in the Premier League. Maybe, and not the bad Luis, the good Luis, when Luis is at the top of his game. So that might be a signing for the back.
Which is very likely with Edu, right? Edu seems to be bringing a few Brazilians. There's definitely a connection there.
Yeah. In the Atletico Madrid has a player called Thomas Partey, defensive midfielder. As Dave says, I don't think we need a defensive midfielder, but and he seems pretty expensive for 27 years old at 42 million, but he's rumored to be out there. Whether he comes in or not, I'm not sure. There's I think he's from Gabon. No, he's not from Gabon. Sorry, I didn't write down where he's from, but that national team is encouraging him not to sign with Arsenal, but he's a player that apparently Arteta is interested in, so he might be another one. And then there's a forward I've kind of targeted. He's from Ajax, Quincy Promes, 28 years old, 25 million transfer. We don't need another forward, but if we lose Lacazette, maybe Quincy comes in and helps replace.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. What are your thoughts, Dave, on those names, since you haven't done your homework?
The defender you said, what was the name of the defender, sorry, Jonathan?
Gabriel. He goes by Gabriel. The name on the back of his shirt is Gabriel. It's
Okay.
Magalhaes.
It's not Paulista, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, no, that was the only player that I've not heard of, to be honest. So, opinion on that.
Yeah, he's with Lille right now.
Okay.
And it's France. We've talked about France not being on the same level as any of the English leagues, maybe the Division 1, but he's not. He comes across highly rated, and he might be a good fit with Luis.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against any of those. I mean, even Partey. I mean, I could still see a role for him if we lost some other people and still brought in someone else. Because the way we seem to be playing, correct me if I'm wrong, but we seem to be playing. We need that protective cover for the defenders, right? So to play a defensive midfielder absolutely still works. I'm not saying that. I just mean we need some more options going forwards at times, right? We have a few players, but then when they're not playing or they're out injured, and you're kind of scratching around. And so I'll tell you something I did do. This is kind of off tangent, but kind of at the same time. I bet you cannot guess who started our first game of this season. I had to look earlier as the team sheet. So the team sheet was Leno. Left back was Monreal. I thought he left years ago. I honestly did. Love Monreal. I thought he left years ago. Papa. Chambers. Maitland-Niles at right back. Guendouzi. Xhaka. Nelson on the left. Willock down the middle. Mkhitaryan on the right. And probably the only player other than Leno who's out, who's consistent, and Xhaka is Aubameyang at top. The manager was a guy called Unai Emery. Crazy.
Yeah.
That was over a year ago. That was August 12th last year.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm living in the past. Over a year ago, start of the season. That's just what a year. Mental. But that goes to show that how much has changed, right? We've got shot of some of these players that, like Mkhitaryan, I never fancied him from day one. So it's nice to see there's some direction going forward, which is good.
Yeah, I think as well, you've got to take into consideration that every player this season has played under 3 managers.
Yeah.
And that can't be easy. Yeah. Especially for players coming in, like Pepe. Like he's played under Emery, Lomberg, and now Arteta. And coming into like a new league as well. So that couldn't be an easy. But that starting team is crazy. You got Monreal, you got Guendouzi in there, you got Willock, you got Nelson. If you compare that to like a Liverpool team or a Man City team, like at the start, like goodness knows what the score would have been if they were playing those two. I think I don't actually know who, but as long as you get a defender in, a centre mid, and a attacking mid that can score goals, because that's where we're lacking. Like, I think the most our midfielder players have scored is like 2 or 3 goals. Like maybe Willock scored those, or I'm not too sure. Probably the last midfielder we had was probably Ramsey in that, was it 14, 15 maybe? He scored like 12 goals or something.
My mate actually messaged me yesterday saying he saw Ramsey walking he had his kids in a park the other day. It was the weird, just random. I thought it was weird. He was just staring at it.
Okay.
Is it? It must be. Yeah. He was just bowling around. He's back in Wales, so he's just bowling around with his kids.
Okay.
He's done with it. It means he's back. Let's get him in.
I mean, I'm all for that, but
Yeah.
yeah, so we're pretty short on like a goal scoring midfielder. So I'm not sure who they can go for, or yeah, but the priority is just someone at the back. As Dave said, I like Saliba. Like he's 18, 19. I feel like he's already developed physically. Like he's 6'5" or something already. He's like 19 years old. And for what I've seen of him, he's a pretty decent player at like that age. And there's been like big reps on him already, so it'd be interesting to see if he starts, or he starts with Louise or Pablo Mari, or yeah. So it'd be interesting window, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think the most important one is at the back, centre mid, and then Aubameyang's probably the most important one too, I think.
Totally agree. And Barcelona, after yesterday's defeat, they're probably going to be selling. So maybe we have a chance at Messi.
Well, Wenger was going to sign Messi, so get it done.
Well, maybe we can play Messi at like centre back.
Yeah.
See how that goes. 4'5" of him.
Or we could just buy him and sit him on the bench. We like doing that as well. We could do stadium tours with Ozil and recoup some money.
Yeah, it's true.
Program seller Ozil.
Any final thoughts, guys, or wrap it up from there?
No, I think it'll be interesting to see how this transfer window plays out, especially, I mean, I don't know too much of the info, but obviously something's going on and Sanielli has left or sacked or whatever. So we've got rid of all our scouts. So it's an interesting direction, shall we say. And I'm very intrigued to see what happens. I think we even with you going into Europa, we don't have a huge amount of money to spend. However, with everything going on in the world, there should be some interesting players. Like I say, I didn't do my homework, but there should be some interesting players that we can get at a cheaper price, right? So I'm kind of intrigued to see where we go with that and what we do. And I definitely think we've done well, but we need to offload some of these players that we're just not using. The manager doesn't fancy. And it's not to be critical about them, but if he's not going to play them, like we have our Nenny's back at the club, are we going to use him? Are we going to play him? Is there, and if there's not, then let's move him on. Let's raise some funds and I mean, we could do a whole podcast about Ozil and what's going on there. Jesus, I mean, you know, whether you like him or not, it's pointless him being there and not playing and costing however much a week. So that's my hope, is that we can offload. I mean, I think with Ozil, if we're realistic, we're going to have to pay part of his wage. I mean, that's what Sanchez, that's what United have done for Sanchez. They've basically paid him to go away. And, you know, I've got my own theory with Ozil anyway, and you always step on people's toes the second that you mention Ozil. But for me, he must just, I genuinely think he's like that player, is it Dave Bentley or something like that? I just don't think he wants to play football anymore. And has the money that he has. I think when everything went on with the World Cup, he kind of fell out of love with it. He was in the news only yesterday or the day before, basically saying that Arsenal didn't support him and didn't back him when he was bringing up, you know, human rights of Muslim people in China. And he criticised Arsenal over that. I think he's just kind of fallen out with the game a bit, and you know, with what happened with him with the German team, and obviously that with Arsenal, I think people will disagree with me, I think he's happy to just sit there and collect his wage. And until, you know, a Turkish club or something wants to offer him, which they're not going to do, offer him the same or more money, well, he'll see out this contract and then he'll go to Turkey, be an absolute hero, get treated the way he feels he should be treated, and can continue his retirement. But sounds crazy, but that's my view. That's my view on him. I think he's given up. I don't think he's interested. And you look at Arteta and you look at the way he's handled everyone. He said everyone starts with a clean slate. And he's been true to his word on that. He's played players that were out of favour. He's turned people like Xhaka around and used him to the best of his ability. He's not singled out anyone who hasn't deserved to be singled out. So there's a reason Ozil's not playing. And that's either the board have said, we need to get rid of this guy, or the manager doesn't feel he's capable of playing. But it'd be a huge amount of money we get when we sort that out.
I just think he doesn't suit our game style. Basically, he's not in Arteta's plans. He doesn't press. He's not motivated. And you can say the same thing about Guendouzi. Like, he's been frozen out ever since he had that spat with Arteta. And I actually commend Arteta for doing this, because for too long we've had players who would dictate
completely agree, yeah.
what was happening. Under Wenger, you had, Aaron Ramsey would be the first name on the team sheet, but he'd be playing horrible, or the same with Giroud or a certain player. So I trust what Mikel's doing, and you can't lie with it. He's been here 6 months. We're playing better, and then we won the cup for the 14th time. So yeah, couldn't agree more.
So we've got a Community Shield to look forward to soon. That's the big.
Today,
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm actually quite positive for the season. It's the first time in about 2 or 3 years, I guess, since our last FA Cup win, 2017, that seeing the camaraderie on the pitch at the end of the match really gives me hope that we can carry that forward. And I think we say this after every FA Cup win, but I think we hopefully sign Aubameyang, we can take this forward, and Champions League isn't that far away. It frustrated me to no end prior to the Man U getting beat out by Chelsea in the semi-final of the FA Cup, how great Man United was playing at the end of the year and how great they're going to be next year. They didn't play anybody with any significance. So I think we're better than Man U at this current stage that we're at. Chelsea, they're going to be making some signings. I think we have a really good opportunity to be top 4 next year and move on to Champions League play in the year after.
That's what we like to hear. Positivity. Love it.
Yeah. I think our team, I don't think we need a midfielder. I mentioned Thomas Partey as a defensive midfielder only because his name has come up. And as Dave said, he might help stabilize, and apparently he can get the ball forward really well. But I think with the guys that we have back there now, Saka, Torreira, if he can improve, Niles, I think we have a real opportunity to make some headway next year.
Hopefully they act in the market. Let's hope that Willian isn't our only signing for the season.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been critical of that. I don't know. I struggle with that. It's easier, isn't it, to get on board with, like bringing a few people through the youth that we've done. Because they can do no wrong in our eyes, right? Because you're trying something new, and I think that's my biggest. And I just don't really feel that's moving forward. But in other ways,
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what happens and how they act and how the club goes moving forward into the new season with still no fans in the stadium as well. Yeah. Thanks.
So I've loaded this is just for fun as well. So this season, our departures have been Iwobi, Bielik, Koscielny, Ospina, Mkhitaryan, Carl Jenkinson, Monreal, Lichtensteiner, Bramall, Ramsey, Welbeck, Mavropanos. He's on loan, sorry.
Wilshire probably as well.
No, sorry, can't discount that. Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. You wouldn't half, isn't it? Czech retired. El Nemi went on loan, has come back. Suarez ended his loan. It's mental. It's such a. If you look at the team we played last year to what we're playing now, it's a lot of change, and I genuinely think that's why we looked in terms of league position. We looked so bad this season. Because it's kind of, we transitioned and then we kind of transitioned again. And I feel like now at least we have a manager. Like, is it unfair to say I've even just forgotten his name. Who managed just before? Emery, thank you. Chosen to forget that name. With Emery, I don't think I ever really felt he was going to be more than like a few season manager. Like from day one, I didn't warm to him. I didn't really see what he was doing, right? Where he was going with the team, what the goal was. He seemed to just worry more about the other team and set us up to not get beaten, as opposed to, actually develop a style. We've always been an attacking kind of team and actually go for these games and win them. Whereas with Mikel now, I feel like this is a manager that will have a decent run. Will be with us for at least a decent amount of years that he can put his stamp on things, have his plan and work towards it, which is good. I feel like the players we get in will be players that he wants. and he builds something for the future, which is good. And I don't think we'll be floundering around in mid-table next season.
Hope you're right. Hope you're right.
Shooting for top 4.
I agree.
All right, so we'll end it there, guys. Thanks for coming on, and I'm sure we'll be back for another episode. Try for next week. If you've got friends that want to come on, just give them a message or see if they want to join in.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for your time. Enjoy doing this.
Yeah.